Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to be working on the Kelly Floyd tax return. And I'm going to take my time with Kelly Floyd because she represents the type of client that you will run into during our tax sessions. So we're going to put this into three videos, take our time talking about the issues and showing you some of the features of TaxWise, as well as discussing the tax issues themselves. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and log into TaxWise, and then you're going to make sure that you have the 6744, your exam booklet, and turn to page 77, and that's where you'll find Kelly Floyd. And Kelly Floyd is a single mother. Her husband passed away in March 2012. Now, one of the issues that I'm going to have to talk about is the fact that we're using 2014 TaxWise software, and this exam booklet is designed to be with 2015 software, but we don't have access to that yet. So we're going to be having to make a couple of adjustments to this data. So in the interview notes with Kelly Floyd, you're going to see it says Kelly's husband died in March 2012, and she has not remarried. I want you to put a little note and put that we're going to say that he died in 2011. Because it is 2014, if he had passed away in 2012, Kelly would still fall under a qualifying widow, and that would change her filing status. By changing it to 2011, we will put Kelly as head of household because after 2 years, you are no longer a qualifying widow. You would go, if you had a dependent child, to a head of household status. And for this to work with 2014 software, we're going to bump that uh, time of death to March of 2011. Then it goes on to say that Kelly provided the entire cost of maintaining a household and support for her two children, Maya and Logan. Kelly also has a younger brother, Brian, who's permanently and totally disabled. He does receive disability income, which provides for more than half of his support. So since he has income to provide for more than half of his support, he will not qualify as a dependent for Kelly, and you can look this up in the 4012, the criteria for dependent status. But because he lives in her home, he may qualify to apply toward her earned income tax credit. We'll take a look at this later. The next issue says that Kelly unfortunately lost her job in December of 2014, or in this case 2013, when she received unemployment for 2 months. That's important because unemployment is taxable income. Workman's comp is not, but unemployment is, so we're going to have to take a look at that as an issue with Kelly. And it says that while she was unemployed, she had to take some money out of her 401k to pay for her household expenses. Well, unlike Matthew, who had a qualifying reason to take out money for a 401k because of education expenses, simply to have to cover your household expenses will not qualify Kelly to be exempt from a penalty on that early distribution. Kelly is not 59 and a half, and she's using it for normal everyday expenses, so Kelly will be facing a penalty. We'll be looking at that. Her children, Maya and Logan, attended daycare while she worked, so we'll be looking at seeing if we can have an extra tax credit for those daycare costs. And finally, we're going to be looking at the fact that Kelly, Maya, and Logan, did they have health insurance for the whole year? Well, unfortunately, because Kelly was laid off for 2 months, that is going to mean that she did not have health insurance for them for 2 months. She did have minimum essential coverage for the rest of the year, and furthermore, it was provided from her employer. So she did not apply for a premium tax credit. She did not participate in the marketplace. But the question is, will she have to pay a penalty on that 2 months that she did not have health coverage? So we're going to be looking to see if we can find an exemption for Kelly in the list of codes and exemptions. Her brother Brian had minimum essential coverage all year, so we will be able to mark him as having full coverage for the year. All of these are issues that we will be looking at. If you turn to pages 78, 79, 80, and 81, those are going to be the forms that the client will have filled out. We will have helped them during the intake, interview, and quality review process. And so we're going to be asking clients to fill this document out thoroughly with the information so that it can help us in facilitating quick and accurate preparation of their tax return. This is the 13614. And so every client will have one of these associated with their tax return. We will be going through this slowly as we do Kelly's return. Finally, on pages 82 and 83, we will find 4 source documents that Kelly has brought to the tax site. She has brought a W-2. She's brought a 1099-G for her unemployment that she was paid. She also has a 1099-R for that early distribution of her retirement plan. And she has brought with her a source document which documents both her child care provider's EIN and the amount that was paid for each child so that we can complete the forms in TaxWise to get Kelly a tax credit on her children for this dependent care. So in the next video, we're going to actually start preparing Kelly's return. I'm going to go ahead and click Active Returns in TaxWise. And you can see that I have already started Kelly's return. I'm going to go ahead and click on it. And what I have done, and I want you to do before you start watching the next video, is went to the main information sheet, and I have entered in the information from page 78 on that first page. Kelly's name, her social security number. I've entered in her address. It says your city. I've entered in mine. You can enter in your zip code in your city. I made up a phone number. I entered in Kelly's birth date. And please note that the forms that will be required to be filled will have red lines underneath them. Red line means that TaxWise requires you to fill in these fields. Black lines are optional, and the green lines indicate that it is an auto-populated field in TaxWise based on information you have filled in another field. So let's go ahead and re-enter in Kelly's birth date, and ironically, she was born on April 15th of 1982. So we are going to have this populated. So then you're going to go ahead and scroll down, and I will talk about really quickly. Here is where that if Kelly had, since this is 2014, if Kelly's spouse had died in 2012, then she would be a qualifying widower, which would change the actual filing status. We're going to go ahead and say that he had passed away, since we're using 2014 as head of household, so we get the right numbers in this tax return. We will be using these tax returns to do your final advanced exam for the IRS. So in order to make this work, we're going to go ahead and do that. Furthermore, we're going to see that it auto-populated, that Kelly will have herself as an exemption. And we're going to be looking at Kelly's dependents. We're going to enter Mia. We're going to enter Logan, their birth dates. We're going to make one other change. We are going to change Logan's birth date from 2003 to 2002. That will help us in establishing a correct birth date for Logan to have the right data involved. We're also going to be looking at how many months they were in the home, and they were in the home for 12 months. We're going to get to these codes, and these codes are going to give us, if we just click into the field, it will tell us, should we enter code 1, that it was a child who lived with us, 2, a child who did not live with us due to a divorce or separation, but we're still claiming them as a dependent. Maybe we get to switch off every other year. 3, all other dependents. Well, that will qualify for if we have a dependent who lives with us, a mother or father, to whom we pay or for whom we pay over 50% support. And finally, we have a code for non-dependent, somebody who lives with us, but we are not going to say that they are dependent because they provided for over half of their own financial support. But perhaps they will qualify for the earned income tax credit, and we'll fill out a due diligence worksheet to see if they can qualify. We're going to go ahead and click the dependent care for both Logan and Mia. This is where, if we have child care costs, we will click that. The earned income tax credit will not be filled out. We will go ahead for all of the people in our household. We will click earned income tax credit, and so that we can apply the worksheets to see if we will get to claim them for that tax credit. And the child tax credit will automatically populate it based on the age of those dependents who do live with us. And if we continue to scroll down, we will see that Kelly was a full-year Colorado resident. That should auto-populate. It will ask us some information if she wants to have a direct deposit. So why don't you, before you watch the next video, why don't you get the main information sheet filled out, and then we will go ahead and continue after that is done.